Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Hey, hello, here's Jay. Oh, that's right. I hear an echo from the studio, not from me. That's not turned on, is it? At all? I hear something. Sean, you hear anything? You're okay. We're okay. I know. Well, usually there's nothing in my background because there's no room for it. But I'm going to double check whatever I can. And my apologies for the technical error, whatever it is, but at least we got technicalness anyway. I think I got it. I think I found it. My apologies. And that's the name of that tune. So welcome to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490 AM, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay happily retired. It's Friday the 13th for the second time in a very short time. And I've got a very special appearance for you. Here we go. Okay. I want to make sure you can see this. Now, you know what this is? Some of you are probably not going to see any for a while, maybe. And I was so surprised to find out from the experts that the coronavirus actually makes you poop more. Otherwise, why would people need so much of this? But so be it, I guess. Also, remember to wipe your hands continuously with a hand sanitizer. And alcohol-based sanitizer is everywhere. In case you've got the wrong information that it's not, let me show you some right here. This is Tito's brand handmade hand sanitizer. Now it's also gluten-free, believe it or not. So it's good for the outside of you, and it's good for the inside of you too. So you can actually take care of the inside of you, spread some around and then drink some, I guess. Doctor, I am the doctor, remember? So that's your hand sanitizer for today. But other than dedicating today's show to toilet paper, I just want to make sure you know that we're not making light of the dangerous flu that we all need to protect ourselves from and others from. But the rationing of the toilet paper is something else. And, I'm kind of surprised there's not been holdups of Amazon delivery trucks the way that armored trucks used to be targeted. And to get our mind off of the coronavirus flu, let's throw in another one just for general education. Being a bit overweight, people are always talking about this keto diet, which of course I know nothing about. But I guess there's such a thing as the keto flu. So after trying out the ketogenic diet, some people undergo what's called the keto flu. Let me read this here to you. So the symptoms, accordingly, are a lot like the regular flu: fatigue, nausea, headache, and the like. Now, that's a problem for medical professionals who examine symptoms in order to proper diagnose. So, accordingly, researchers are working to get a better sense of what keto flu really is. So, unnecessary medical treatments don't have to happen. A new study, however, adds some helpful information and details the keto flu experiences of 101 people. For example, the reported timing of symptoms was, on average, within a week of starting the diet. Symptoms typically peaked within the first week and steadily got better over the course of a month. on the keto diet. Meanwhile, 54 discrete symptoms were described in connection to keto flu. So, see, you're learning all about flu now. While this study can't explain why people have keto flu, it's theorized to happen because of shifts in electrolytes, and fluid in the body. Hydration, as typically, is a key. So, and if you're experiencing keto flu, it could be a good idea to add salt. So when people are always telling me to put that salt down, I have too much. And are you one of those people that put salt on before tasting it like I do? I guess that was good for you all along. So because our show was preempted because of sports, or basketball, I think, but in return, basketball was preempted by the toilet paper virus. I had already postponed the original guest, and I didn't want to bounce that guest back and forth. So I'm filling the guest period with a guy who does bounce as well as I do. I think he's larger than me, but he may disagree. Daryl McCants will review modular and manufactured housing choices. I think that was a good choice to fill the space today, because that topic seems to be one of very increasing interest as housing and land prices increase, thus providing many more quality choices. And I see lots more articles showing up here, there, real estate, people talking about real estate, magazines, and articles. So please call, email, or visit www.drheckham.com or www.theeducatedretirementradio.com, or just simply email me, bestloantoday@gmail.com, and be sure to jump over to the YouTube channel's link about halfway down the first page. There's a lot there, including all of the shows and separate segments of the guests, as well as more interesting short snippets. Let's put this up the right way. And please subscribe when you're there, when you find the YouTube station there. There's lots of items on that website that you may want to read and keep as reference for a while. And it's always being updated. So, ask me for a free look at what may work for you. The reason is simple: education. The cost is nothing. The time it takes is up to you. I do promise a fast and easy review so that you know better what your options really are. So let me just say that we're moving on here. So let me just say that I do have a day job, and I am a loan officer at the Loan Source. My NMLS number is 384565. My Department of Real Estate number is 792630. And I think it's time to put in a break so we can get moving here. Thanks much for being with me. Don't go away. All right, I love that music. So, welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on our home planet, 1490 KMET AM radio, the Mighty Met. Here at www.theeducatedretirement.com or www.drheckham.com, and call me at 866-955-2233. Once again, 866-955-2233. And when it comes to the Heckham or reverse, we know the facts. Compare the numbers. It's much too important an issue to ignore, and you certainly don't want to eliminate it based on not fully understanding it. Remember that equity availability programs like this, or the reverse, if you still want to call it that, is not a belief system. It's just math. It's not taking money out unless you want to. I've got got a short message about what's happening in the financial markets. Not that I'm a financial planner, but if you want to talk to one, you don't have one that's already on your household board of directors, call me. And I'll set you up with 1 or 2 or 3 people for you to interview. But as everyone has seen and been reminded here lately, the financial markets are very volatile. Even, they go along one way for many months sometimes, but then something happens to make sure they remind us what they really are. They do seem to come back. Excuse me, I'm okay. But there's a lot at stake between those high and low points. What you really need is a strategy to weather it all. Strategy is the one thing that controls it all and allows you to make it through. Strategy is probably the most important factor in running a business. And as Phil Walker said on this program, when you are retired, you are in business, and your retirement is your business. In those years that the market is against you and your retirement investments, draw tax-free funds from your home to replace the retirement withdrawals and keep those retirement funds in place. When you take those retirement funds, you not only pay taxes, but worst of all, those funds are no longer going to work for you and produce income in the future. Think of those dollars in your retirement account as your employees for your retirement business. Since that part of the investment is gone or diminished, you're not going to get it back. After all, it's those funds that create your profitability, just like being in business. Now, we've got a birthday today, Paul Stewart. Who is Paul Stewart? This is Paul Stewart. Okay? I'm laughing because the Google one has got eyeballs on him, too. Let me show you another picture of Paul. I think you'll probably, or those of you that are really into the world of films, will remember him and remember his face. But he was born in 1908 and earned his wings in 1986. And after studying law in school, he decided on acting as a career and started in radio in 1931, acting, announcing, and creating sound effects. Boy, can I create some sound effects. Anyway, he met Orson Welles and became a friend and associate for many years. And he even helped Welles get into his first job in radio and went on to become the associate producer of that infamous and famous War of the World episode known as the Panic broadcast of Halloween 1938. Just to show, here's a book about that whole situation, and has a recording, and it came with a DVD, which I've got somewhere else right now, of the whole program and what happened around it. And just as a reminder, although Paul wasn't in this film, we love that one, don't we? He was just a reminder about it. Anyway. So, like the rest of the Mercury players, his film debut was 1941 in Citizen Kane, which I do have copies of. I got too many of them, but I thought this might look better for now. And there it is. So he played in over 50 films, that is, Paul did, and performed or directed in over 5,000 film and television shows. Mr. Lucky, the movie, and of course, I'm going to connect this to music. Mancini, the great, I love those television ones, Mr. Lucky and Peter Gunn. And what was the other Mr. Lucky one? Mr. Lucky Goes Latin. And, oh yeah, great stuff. Paul was also in The Bad and the Beautiful, which also has great music by David Raskin for the movie itself, which, I do love. Now, Paul was also in a film which we've talked about before called Kiss Me Deadly. And there is Kiss Me Deadly. Now, other than being Cloris Leachman's first film she was ever in, this film has Ralph Meeker as Mike Hammer going after the glowing briefcase that eventually turned up in Pulp Fiction. Because in the movie Pulp Fiction, what was in that suitcase was Pulp Fiction itself, and it was shown that way. On that note, I think we'll take another break. But don't go too far, and we'll see. Skip this break, I'm told. Okay, well, we'll just keep going. So I'm glad you're here on the Educated Retirement Radio. We are on 1490 KMET, and I'm going to go back here and let you know that one of the big reasons we're here is because we want you to be able to get all the information you can get about how to take care of your retirement. And one of those ways is to give me a call, because you need to know more about the choices you really have and how to protect what you already have. That's the thing a lot of people don't just get. You protect what you already have by getting a reverse mortgage. And it's kind of too much to just talk about in a few minutes, but we can talk about it in person, because everybody has a very different situation. And it's not like one remedy fits all, but there are so many different ways you can handle it. So remember, too, that I have a team of experts that can help and will help you. So please make use of all of us. Call me and I can direct you to anyone who you hear on this show and others. Now, Angel Powell, you just showed up on Facebook. I want to let you know that Dennis Keithley and I talked about you yesterday, although he's in another city, but it was all good in any case. But look for that YouTube station. On my website is the easiest way to get there, about halfway down the front page. And, take a look for all the shows. All the shows are there, little snippets, funny things are there. Just my section, if you want to just, yuck it up with that, and just the sections with the guests, just to see them. So remember, easiest way, bestloantoday@gmail.com. Now, when it comes to today, it wasn't Friday the 13th, but, I have to check. I don't know. Today is the day or the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. Now, Sean, do you know the Phoenix Lights?
Is that the thing that was like a UFO encounter?
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And, not that I ever believe in such things or have ever seen such things, but I really wish I had seen the Phoenix Lights. It became very, very famous. So in 1997, the Phoenix Lights was a series of UFOs that was widely sighted on the area above Phoenix, Arizona. And this went on for more than 12 hours, including things that were described as a V-shaped object the size of a plane, a boomerang shape that was huge, completely silent, and blacked out the stars in the background, and a series of a series of stationary orange and red lights hanging over the valley. Now, it was treated as a joke by the then Governor Fife Symington. Anybody with the name of Fife, though, no wonder UFOs came to visit.
Was that Barney?
He had an aide dress up like an alien, and that alien was introduced at a news conference as the perpetrator. And later, after he left office, he related he had also seen all of those objects. So that's how dangerous it is to say you've seen UFOs if you are in the government or whatever. But at least back then, I think more and more weirdos like me are out there these days admitting such things could be. Now, did I say, can you remember, Sean, did I relate what happened to my wife and I in Taos, New Mexico, when we saw the orbs?
I don't believe so. No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, let me give you the fast version because we're getting near our break time. But we were at a hotel in Taos, which is a wonderful place to see flying saucers. Now, anyway, this one night I woke up to do a number one, like I do a lot. And so I know this wasn't sleep paralysis because I was moving. I turned around, started to get up, and saw this green globe that was about the size of, it was a little smaller than a basketball, maybe like a tether ball or a soccer ball. It was moving from the right to the left, steadily and kind of slowly. And as soon as I locked eyes on it, it, in a split second, went from the right back to the left and went through a slot and disappeared. Now, I know it could be said that I imagined it, and I do have a good imagination, but I don't think I could ever have imagined the fact that it went through a slot like that. So I'm believing it altogether. My wife saw one a couple days later. He was getting in the way of my voice. A couple days later, and that was completely different. And when she's around someday, I'll have her talk about that situation. Now, these Phoenix lights were first reported by a member of the Mickey Mouse Club, a pilot named Kurt Russell. He was not trying to escape from Phoenix, but here in his own words is what he said.
I was flying my son to go see his girlfriend, and I saw 6 lights over the airport, absolutely uniform in a V shape. So I reported it.
Thank you, Kurt. That's great to have Kurt Russell on our show in person. And as long as we're talking about outer space, I got to get out of this space and give it back to Sean so we can let Daryl jump in and give us some great information about housing. And we are here on the Educated Retirement once again. And welcome back to KMET. And we are going to, well, let me give you a phone number. 951-922-3532, 951-922-3532. That's the number to call and talk to Daryl or me right now, or as soon as he starts talking. You might want to talk. You might want to chime in. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is let Daryl introduce himself.
It's good to be here with you, Jay. My name is Daryl McCants. I'm a broker here in the beautiful state of California. And are you excited about talking about mobile homes, manufactured homes?
Yeah, well, let's say manufactured homes, because mobile homes, you know, like reverse mortgage has a connotation to some older people, not all, about how bad they are. Well, the same thing can be said maybe about mobile homes. Manufactured homes might be a better way, or I'm not sure how to you know.
Well, let me share a couple things with you, Jay.
But first, tell us how to get a hold of you and who you are and your claim to fame, so we don't forget.
As I said, I'm a broker here in California. Daryl McCants, 909-227-3847. 909-227-3847. Daryl McCants. Now back to your comment about mobile homes, manufactured homes, and modular homes.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, so we have three different.
Because we don't want to talk about triple wide so that I can fit, you know?
Exactly.
That belongs to something else. But I'll keep my mouth quiet if I can, so you can talk.
There you go. So really, it all comes down to 1976. I don't know if you can see, Jay, but behind me I have the beautiful poster, 1776.
1976, I see it.
Yeah, that's 1776.
Well, I know, but you weren't supposed to correct me. Yeah.
But in 1976, in June, the United States HUD adopted codes that were very specific, very beneficial to consumers. And what had happened prior to 76, there were some really very well-built mobile homes, but there was not a universal set of codes. From June of 76 forward, the U.S. HUD put very specific codes for manufacturing and installation and all kinds of other important details in the subject of manufactured homes.
Mm-hmm.
So manufactured homes, simply put, are built elsewhere. They're built on a steel frame that are transported to the consumer's location. Typically, they own the piece of land and they are put into the place that it makes the most sense.
With a foundation, correct?
Yeah, there could be all your utilities, foundation, etc. And I got to tell you, the manufactured homes, even today, many of them have vaulted ceilings, walk-in closets.
I noticed a vaulted ceiling where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
I figured that's just because your family stuck you in the attic to get you away.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had people in the basement today, so they put me in the
Good.
loft. So, so manufactured homes to this day are obviously built elsewhere to very strict codes. The codes every year have become more and more defined, and the end product, frankly, is more and more impressive every year that goes on. It could be 10 to 30% less cost per square foot for the consumer, as opposed to something that we in the business called stick built. And for the people that are listening, when we say stick built, that's just a term used to describe what we often see when somebody has a piece of land, whether it's a tract of homes or a home being built, where they pour the foundation and they start to frame the house and everything is done right on location.
With sticks.
Those are called stick built.
And unfortunately, those sticks are food for termites.
Correct.
And the steel beams, the other ones, are not.
Yeah, the termites, oftentimes they'll chip a tooth when they're stuff. Okay. So manufactured homes have served a great need, because you're getting a very high quality product, and the cost can be quite a bit less, especially as you and I are discussing, people that are in retirement. Oftentimes they're downsizing. So they may have had a conventional stick-built home. It served them well, served their family well, and now they want to downsize, sell the big home, take their funds, and possibly invest them, maybe have some set aside for long-term care or other things. So these are really viable, wonderfully built homes, to say the very least. Now, if we move to the next subject, which is modular homes. Modular homes also are built elsewhere. They are brought, after they're built, they're brought to the consumer's piece of land.
So what's the big difference now?
Now, here's the difference. A modular home, just like The manufactured home is built elsewhere. It's built on a steel frame. However, when it gets out to its final site, the steel frame that it's built on is removed, and the home is put on a permanent concrete foundation or a block foundation, exactly as the stick-built homes. They also are not using federal guidelines, just like a stick-built home. They're using local, county, and state guidelines. So a modular home is actually virtually
The same.
similar to a stick-built home.
Now, let me ask you a personal question here.
Yes.
How, if I were to look at one, a modular compared to what was the other one again? I'm old. You got to remind.
You got modular homes. You got manufactured homes.
Okay, we talked about.
And you still have mobile homes.
Okay, we haven't talked about those yet. We've talked about the modular and the manufactured.
Okay, so let me just quickly touch on.
If I were to look at those, would I be able to see the difference from the outside?
It's funny you should say that, because the modular or the mobile homes that were before 1976, that came in on a steel frame, oftentimes they had wheels on them and everything else. Some of them were extremely well built, and to this day they've been beautifully cared for. They're absolutely wonderful, and you could literally have all three side by side, and virtually from the outside you may not be able to tell the difference.
Okay.
Especially if they're all, immaculate, similarly landscaped. But once you inspect them further and find out they're year built, because remember, the manufactured homes will have the U.S. HUD paperwork and identification on there to show that they meet those codes.
That's the thing that everybody looks for, the plaque, right? They call the plaque.
Right. And prior to that, you would not have the 76, prior to 1976, you wouldn't have that U.S. HUD plaque. That's very important, because if people want to get financing, they're going to have to be able to oftentimes show, especially if it's an FHA loan, they would have to show that it met the U.S. HUD guidelines with respect to the manufacturer. And it would obviously have to be, on a permanent foundation, and the property owner would have to own the land that it's on for some of the FHA products. So, but your question is spot on. Modular versus manufactured versus mobile. The home buyer, as it is, has to become very familiar with what it is they're looking at, and oftentimes when they speak to people that are licensed, in my case, a licensed broker, in your case, a licensee in the state, or again, in your case and mine, if they're going to get financing information, there's a series of questionnaires that we will make sure are completed and provided to the person that's thinking about buying one of these. Or if somebody's going to order a new one, the factory that's building it is perfectly capable of providing to them all the specs and
just like a new home builder would, where they'd have all that.
Absolutely, 100% the case. In the case of a new manufactured home, a new modular home, or a new stick-built home, you're absolutely right. All that critical documentation will be provided to the home buyer. And now, that said, if somebody does buy an existing single-family stick-built home, mobile home, manufactured home, or modular, they're going to have to get educated on exactly what it is. And when they're dealing with licensed professionals, that information typically comes to them very quickly.
Now they can call you, or they can call me and I can get them in touch with you. But I think what you're trying to really say is that people who are looking to either two classes of people that are downsizing, and perhaps first-time buyers.
Absolutely.
Because they could also be an investment for a first-time buyer.
They could also be a second home.
That's the other thing I was going to get into a little bit further down. But
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
an investment property.
yeah, this is something people should stick into their put on the menu of looking to buy something. Don't put it in the fast food category. Put it on the main entree part of the menu.
And since you mentioned you're an old guy, Jay,
Oh, no,
I didn't
yeah,
say it. You
you're
mentioned
guessing. You're just guessing, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. But since you mentioned it, it's important for all of us to know, and everybody listening right now, that when it comes to affordability, it's never been a bigger issue in the country, in the state, in our region. And these options did not exist years past as they do today. I mean,
Right. Of course, the price of housing didn't exist the way it does today. Now, I know everything has gone up, but that's gone up a lot more than income has.
You got that right.
I mean,
so these
slice of bread and income may have gone up the same. Televisions and income may have gone up the same, but income and housing, not even close.
Not even close. So your emphasis on retirement and really providing great options for your listeners, it's really important that all four, because we're talking about four options. Single family, you're talking about stick built, we're talking about manufactured, we're talking about modular.
All of those are available with a reverse mortgage, but I don't want to get too far into reverse right now because this is your time.
No, but there's the whole topic of financing, you and I know, is critical because it's the biggest factor when you talk about affordability. So for most people, affordability is measured on a monthly basis. So you're absolutely
cash flow, yeah.
Cash flow. So the U.S. HUD program that you are most excited about will make these most affordable when it comes to the HECM for purchase, but not to mention the other FHA programs,
right?
Conventional, and a lot of people do these with unsecured. There's all sorts of options on it.
Sure.
But the number one thing is everybody should, and you started the show out by you really hit the nail on the head. Do not take information that was from 5 years ago, 10, 20, and make it relevant today, because they have completely changed.
Right.
They've changed this dramatically, just like the telephones we use today have no correlation to the telephones we used 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Right.
And the TVs that we use have no correlation. And when it comes to manufactured homes, modular homes, stick-built homes, there have been tremendous advances. And I really do think that your audience that is really focused on affordability, downsizing, energy efficiency, cost to maintain.
Yeah.
All of these things.
All of those things do matter on some of those homes. Another thing, which I wasn't even planning to think about, but, I spend a lot of time like in Orange County and LA County also.
Yeah.
Almost, I see new homes, a lot of new homes being built, 3 stories, no more 2 stories, 3 stories, because you can get as big a house with less of a footprint.
Right.
And I mean, I used to see those in places like Chicago and other, like in, Lincoln Park and things. Everything was 3 stories. And now it's coming here.
Correct.
And if you get older, unless you've got an elevator or a stair lift that goes up to, you want single story.
Yeah.
And many of those manufactured are single story.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Jay, because if you're in your car, because typically the garage is on the first floor, and you forgot to pick up your briefcase,
yeah,
you're going up 3 flights of stairs.
No, you ask your wife to go get it.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work good.
That worked good for you, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, as I get thrown off the side of the brick. Now, a big part of your audience has opportunities where, especially when you get into the Inland Empire and you get into some of these areas, there's a tremendous amount of modular homes, manufactured homes, one story. It's very easy living, and it does fit the retirement topic, because as you look at a lot of the retirement communities, you'll notice that they're one story.
Right.
It's
Sure.
It's very easy in, easy out.
I really want a stair lift. I really do, but I have a single story home.
Well, maybe they could get one that'll take you up to the roof.
See, I think that would be so cool to have a thing that opened up and it went right through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And smoke a cigar up there and look around, and but no such luck.
Yeah. Well, you can always dream. Technology as it is.
Yeah.
Next year, you'll see it advertised on TV.
Yeah.
You'll have a chair lift that takes you right up to your crawl space.
Yeah.
And you can go up there and
crawl.
Well, you fumigate your attic. You just.
Yeah. Well, I see you're in yours right now, right? So.
Yeah. Exactly.
But a lot of the land, speaking of Inland Empire and the valley out there through, all the way down to Temecula and over to Palm Springs and all the other areas, the high desert, the land is getting more expensive. But it used to not be nearly as expensive as LA and Orange County. And that's when a lot of developers bought land. Yeah. And they still are, but they bought land wondering what to do with them, and now they're starting to put more modular and things like that on them. It's going to keep the price way down.
Yep.
And
I think, Riverside County, your upper desert, your lower desert.
Yeah, if I didn't already have a house, that would be near the top of my list, I think.
Yep.
Especially if it was far away from where you live, that would be.
That would be an additional benefit, see?
It certainly would.
Now, you be nice to us LA County residents, okay? Because I'm LA County, you're Orange County.
It's hard to think of you as LA County.
Isn't it?
You're right on the edge.
Well, out here...
We could call you,
Mountain Claremont, which is...
very nice. Very nice.
It's a little college town. They used to call it the Westwood of the East. We used to be the Inland Empire. Now the Inland Empire is
way east.
Yeah. Way up there. Yeah, now it's way. So.
No, and you live, for those of you that you do live in a craftsman type home, which is just amazingly beautiful, except that you live in it. But
until they open the front door and they see my face, it's a beautiful.
Yeah.
Day.
Well, there's no other room besides.
Yeah, it's now 115 years old.
Wow.
So you guys... That's
older than me.
Only by a few months. And, we love it. and all of Southern California, it used to be, Jay, where LA was way over there and Orange County was way over there and Riverside was way over there. Well, now, you leave one and you're in the other and you don't even realize it. Everything now has really developed together. So, you doing the show today on these affordable, very potentially advantageous types of homes for retirement consideration. Again, the big topic now is downsizing. A lot of people, the utility bills have never been higher. The maintenance is high. Everything is expensive.
Now, before we have to go,
and
unfortunately, the time goes too fast on these shows. You brought up earlier vacation homes. So let's touch on that before we have to sign off.
Yeah. So as people are wanting to have a desert home or a mountain home, or we didn't talk about investment homes. Right. So I think you're going to start to see with these, now that these industries have matured, kind of like you, Jay. They've also matured.
Very mature, yes. Very mature.
Right. When I think of you, I think of maturity.
Yeah. Now you may may have missed the earlier part of the show.
Yeah.
Where I was, Captain Video, talking about my maturity.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Thanks for putting that. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, but as these technologies have emerged, and the quality of these homes have never been better. To use them as vacation homes, investment, second homes, primary residence, retirement homes. I think it's going to be prolific. And again, I commend you for doing the show on this, because I think you're way ahead of the game. I think there's very little conversation, big picture on this subject. And I think that, as you said, if I were to be looking for something that made a lot of sense in retirement, to not know about these options, I think would be really unfortunate.
Correct.
You want to be able to consider them, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, I can see myself in, the thing is, when you're inside them, even if, like I had in-laws when they were alive, that were in what we used to call a double wide.
Yeah.
I was probably single wide at the time, so there was no problem.
Yeah, you fit good, but now you'd be better, more comfortable.
Yeah, but we're talking about what people would call trailers or mobile homes.
Right.
In a park, a mobile home park. Right. And the thing is, when you're inside, even though that looked very different from the outside because of the wheels and the tire, that kind of thing. Yeah. Inside, you wouldn't know.
Well, I got to tell you, Jay, I don't know how much time we have left, but I was just in one. And it was about 2,000 square feet. And you, from the outside, with the beautiful high glass windows and...
Oh, yeah. No, some of those are... I was just saying the extreme, you still don't know the difference.
Yeah, but now more than ever, you don't know whether it was manufactured on site or off site.
And even if you did, what's the difference?
Well,
if you enjoy it and it looks great, the difference, of course, is the price.
Well, not only that, but the funny part is that's also true. It's funny and it's true. You may be in a manufactured home or modular home that is better built than a stick-built home, or it could be equal, or it could be worse. Again, it depends who the builder is.
Right, just like any two houses.
But people used to assume that they were lesser than a stick-built home. That's no longer the case.
Right.
Oftentimes they have more energy efficiency. When they were building it, it was in a controlled environment.
Right.
So they had more skilled labor.
I don't know that this is true or not. Maybe you can tell me. A buyer, if it's a new one, may have more choices as to what goes into it.
It could very well be the case. Absolutely, they have all of the computerized modeling where all sorts of customizations can be done. But again, you don't have to worry about weather damage while it's built. That.
Oh yeah.
There's more supervision.
Like if it rains, you have to wait 6 months then to get into your property after you sold it and you got nowhere to go.
Correct.
That's a whole nother subject, but yeah.
Yeah. So no, you're absolutely correct. So the bottom line is, they're built in these big facilities that are well supervised. They have all the proper equipment. All the proper equipment. So yeah, I think it's a very important consideration. Ultimately, the homeowner has to make whatever choice is best for them. But again, I commend you for dealing with this information. I think you're way ahead of the game, and it could be very positive for retirees.
Yes, it can. And I really appreciate you bringing all this information. And for any, we have a few seconds left, not much. Tell them your name, how they can get a hold of you. And if they don't remember that, they can get a hold of me.
Right. Yeah. My name is Daryl McCants. I'm a licensed broker, state of California, 909-227-3847 or 310-400-9209.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sean, for all your good work. And most of all, thank everybody out there listening, watching. Have yourself a great week. And remember, Kaplan will be here on the same corner in front of the cigar store next week.